Okay, welcome everybody to our very first Gold Rush coaching series Zoom. It's going to be exciting. We have a lot of really good topics lined up for you. So we're going to have 5 Zooms in total, and there's going to be some great things covered. And I'm excited to kind of talk to you a little bit tonight about getting away from the excuses and really owning up to the fact that you are running a business and we need to treat it like a business and start working this like a business. So first of all, the first thing I want to ask you guys is raise your hand if you are a proud Plexus business owner. Are you aware that you own a business? Yes. Okay, awesome. Everyone should be raising their hand. If I can't see your face, I hope you're raising your hand. First of all, I want you to own that, right? And the thing is, thank you, Jody, in the chat. Yes. And the thing is, a lot of us go into this business accidentally. We are already busy with family, life, jobs. We're not looking for this, right? We just wanted to start for the products. There might be a few of us that joined for the business opportunity, but the vast majority were not looking for a business. So we started on the products. We loved them. We started to share them. Maybe we found a few people, help someone go silver here and there, and started to catch the vision, right? And then you get closer to, super silver. Some of you might have gone through super silver. I didn't have super silver when I joined. And then you move on to gold and you're like, oh, this is legit. Like, this is real money. This is actually like a business I could dive into. This is something I could be good at. I like helping people. I like sharing with people. I like seeing people feel happy, and I like contributing more to my family, and I'm feeling awesome. So all of that kind of rolls into this accidental business that I think the majority of us probably found ourselves in. But I want you to remember that you are a legitimate boss. You are the boss of a business. You are an entrepreneur, and it's time to treat this business as such. And so it's time to understand that this is a commitment. It's an extremely lucrative opportunity, but you have to realize that it's going to be work. It's so simple. The things that we do are so simple, but it's not always going to be easy. And it's going to take some time to work on that mindset and work on those habits and work on those goals to really understand that we need to maybe shift our mind and our habits and our lifestyle a little bit to make sure that we're working this in the most successful way. And so we are super fortunate that this business requires like no huge initial investment, no inventory, no shipping people things, no handling payments, no employees on payroll, no advertising. Like, you get where I'm going, right? You can legitimately make life-changing money, and most of you probably have already, right off the bat. And this business is legitimately a dream come true for people. And a lot of people don't understand that. I don't think any of us understood that when we joined. And so when we start this opportunity so slowly, we sometimes can take for granted what we have and how simple it is to move forward in this business. And we don't push ourselves hard enough and do enough consistently enough to move the needle in big ways, because we never really knew what we had from the beginning. But really all we have to do is get up, stay motivated, keep sharing, and teach other people to do the same thing. And if we want to keep moving forward and upward in Plexus, it's time to invest in the right areas that are going to give us the best return for our Plexus business. So it's time to switch your brain over a little bit into business mode. This isn't a hobby. If you treat it like one, I guarantee you're going to get paid like one. But if you treat it like a career, you are going to blow your mind with this rocket ship of a business, and the money you make is going to be pure profit. Because like I said, you're not shipping things to people. You're not paying overhead. You're not paying employees. You're not paying for inventory. We're not paying for any of that stuff. And so you don't have an HR department. You know what I mean? Like, understand the opportunity that you literally have right in front of you and the life-changing profits that you can make from this, as well as the life-changing health benefits that we already have seen and believe in and all of that. I mean, that's a whole other topic in itself, is belief in the products, but I'm really talking about this business opportunity today, and moving your business forward and getting your mind in the right place and your habits in the right place to make that happen. So the first thing I want you to realize is that you are your most valuable asset in your business. So think about that for a second. You. So think about maybe like if you had another job, or your husband has a job, or whatever, who's the most valuable asset in that company? Like, maybe not that one person unless he's the owner of the company, right? But in this business, you are your most valuable asset, and you are the one that's going to help you rank up, make more money, and make sure your business is strong. So the first thing you need to invest in is yourself. And the number one thing that I can not stress enough is getting to events. And we have one right next week, convention. So this is the prime time to talk about getting to events. If there are opportunity events in your area, if there's something you can drive to, if there's something you can take time to fly to, like convention, if there's leaders retreat dangling out in front of you, you better be busting your booty to get there. If you have not moved heaven and earth to try and get to dang convention, then this opportunity might not be as passionate. You might not be as passionate about this opportunity as you maybe could be or should be. So I mean, obviously, if you are like having a baby or like something like, for example, Cassie Rainey was adopting a child one year and then literally was having Poppy the next year. So understandably missed convention, right? But what I'm saying is these huge events are where leaders are born, where leaders are made. It's where belief is instilled in you. You are around like-minded people who are fired up just as much as you are. You can learn from so many people all around you. And so if you're like not going to convention, I would like check yourself and make sure you better get your butt there next year and make sure you are doing everything you can to get to Leaders Retreat. Because if you haven't put that like right in your crosshairs to get there, then something is wrong with that because events are it, like seriously. And so I want to give you like a little snippet of my experience with events, right? So I joined right as Leaders Retreat was happening in 2015, in October of 2015. And so I was brand new, and then I went silver, gold, then senior gold, and I pushed for Ruby right before convention of 2016 and missed. So that's a whole nother call about pushing for a goal and missing it and the mindset shift that happens there. But I went into my first convention as a senior gold ambassador. And the training I took away from that, the people that I met, the connections that I made, the whole sense of togetherness and community I got from that, the belief that was instilled in me and my husband about this opportunity and what this company could do was incredible. The very next month I ranked to Ruby. So pushed it through, ranked to Ruby the very next month. And then I went back in 2017 as a senior Ruby ambassador. So 6 months after going Ruby, I was senior Ruby. And then again, went to convention, got fired up again in 2017. And it just like, there is nothing like convention, you guys. And that was in it was like end of May, early June of 2017. And that very July, I pushed to Emerald. So it's like, you don't understand the fire that it lights in you to get to these events. And so that was incredible. And then being able to, go to Maui, and then back then we could still go to Leaders Retreat and all of that stuff. So now it's senior Ruby and below, but Leaders Retreat is incredible because you're just surrounded by other full-on, fully charged, fully believing leaders who are there that are just thirsty for knowledge. And so Leaders Retreat, another thing is just, it can change you. It can fire you up and instill more belief in you than you ever thought possible and give you really tangible tools to put into action. It's not just fluff and here's some ideas. It's like, legitimately, this is what you need to be doing in your business. Take some dang notes and go home and do this on your team and you will rank up. Like, that's what Leaders Retreat is all about. And there's the trainings at convention are like that too. The ambassador specific, the rank specific trainings at convention are like that too. So you want to be there. And now it's like incredible to see, like thinking back to my first convention and being like, oh, I was on this like downer of like, I just missed like ranking up to Ruby. I pushed so hard. And then, going through it and being like, no, like forget this. I'm doing it and doing it the next month and going back and ranking up again and going back and ranking up. Like, it's an incredible feeling to watch yourself move through these phases. And it was spurred on big time by events in my Plexus career. And so another piece of that is in focusing on investment in yourself is personal growth. So I know we all talk about like book studies and like podcasts and things, and that's awesome. And that takes a lot of time, but I'm gonna steer this ship another direction for a second. So we all talked about what we thought our opportunities were and where we thought we excelled, right? In our chat earlier. So think about what you wrote there. Everything that you feel you aren't good at is available in some type of training on the internet. For free. I promise you. So if you're like, oh, I'm not good at retention, or oh, I'm not good at cold messaging, or oh, I'm not good at following up with people, or I'm just not really good at time management. Well, go find a video and learn how to manage your time better, right? Like, stop saying I'm bad at it and just go figure out how to do it better, right? So that is something that I just want to like truth bomb the heck out of you guys, because that was one of the things that I know some of you may have joined like right after I joined or with me or whatever, a few people on this call. we didn't have training. Like we had to go figure it out. We had to go follow the diamonds on YouTube and just watch every video they put out about how to work plexus because we had no idea. And we didn't have anything like we have now. And we have such good training materials now by corporate, by other jewels, by other diamonds. And so now that we've kind of thought about what we see as opportunities in our business and maybe what our strengths are, hone in on how you can make those strengths better, but don't accept that you're just going to be bad at things, right? Like actively go learn about those areas and start putting into practice the things that you're learning, because everything is out there to teach you. So we can't just get used to not being good at things. What we need to get used to is being new at things and knowing that we can learn to figure it out, because there are plenty of things that I think all of us have been bad at and now we're great at, or at least we're like passable at, right? So you're not like, nobody knew what they were doing when we joined this business, right? Like nobody was just like fresh out of the gate, a rock star. And so we all had to learn something. And so I think now that we've kind of put some thought into what those things might be, we'll touch on a few of those through this coaching series, but also if you're like, oh, I wish this, or I wish that, or I need to be better at this, go find a training series on that. Go, put some things into practice about that. Go follow someone who's said they're really good at it. Ask them what they're doing. Like, what do you think your top 2 things that you're doing in this area that are helping you be good at sending cold messages to people or following up? What's your system, or how do you manage your time better, or how do you connect so well with people? Like whatever it is, find those people, ask them, learn from them, actively get out there and do those things. And I urge you to not just consume, because we can get in this rut of overconsumption really easily. But once you consume something, go try to put at least 1 or 2 pieces of it into action, right? So don't just watch video after video after video after video. Like maybe watch a couple to get like some tips and tricks, but then turn around that next day or that next week and set some goals for yourself. Say, I'm going to do these 5 things for these next 7 days, right? And so just do it, because the more you become okay with learning new things and okay with that discomfort, you'll become more competent in those areas, which builds your confidence in those areas. So you'll be new, and yes, you'll be a novice, but then you will totally learn, you'll do it, you'll fail, you'll screw it up, but then you'll get really good at it, and then you'll be super confident in doing it all the time, and somebody's going to be asking you how to do it in the future, right? Somebody else on your team is going to come along and you're going to say, I know exactly how to do that because I used to make that mistake too. And so you can tell them how to fix their problem or how to address something or whatever. So that's a little bit about investing in, the things you might be doing. But now I want to talk about investing in your time a little bit and having the commitment for the long haul. So working your business is something you guys all know by now needs to happen consistently. No working your business in spurts. You need to work your business daily in some way. It doesn't need to be 4 hours a day every single day. That's not what I'm saying. You can absolutely work this business part-time, but you can't work it sometimes. It has to be all the time. Imagine if you owned a brick and mortar store down the street. Could you imagine if your doors were only open on like Tuesdays and Fridays for half an hour? Like who would come? No one, right? But if you constantly have your doors open all day, every day, and they're seeing your merchandising and they're seeing your advertising, and maybe you're sending out mailers because you're reaching out to people that, once you have it like a special event or something, they're going to walk by and remember that it's you, that you're the Plexus person, because you have had your doors open this whole time. You have been reaching out to them this whole time. And if you're not reaching out to people and you're just posting on Facebook, you're really just third-party validation for the people who are going to reach out to that person. Because I know that from the hard way. I've lost about 4 people from me reaching out to them like too late in my immediate friend circle, because I was too nervous to reach out to them from the get-go. And they said, oh yeah, so-and-so on our same, college, whatever group, already talked to me about it. And I'm like, dang it, man. Like I should have reached out to her 6 or 8 months ago, but I was too nervous to do it. And I was just posting along thinking the world was just going to come to me because everybody knew that I sold Plexus, right? But you forget that every single person on your Facebook page or your Instagram has thousands of other friends, and the odds of someone else having Plexus in their newsfeed is probably pretty common. And so you have to be the one that they can trust, that they can look to, that's consistent and is energetic and enthusiastic, because no one can argue with genuine enthusiasm. I mean, if you are the one that's reaching out and inviting them and consistently sharing, they're going to come to you because you look like you're more proficient, you're more energetic about it, and you're more committed than those other people. So that's something that I want to say about just consistency. And then the piece of us that always wants to say, I don't have time, or I'm busy this week, or whatever. Listen, we're all busy, okay? You have time. We all have the same amount of time. Let me give this example. So if you have a plane to catch tomorrow morning at 5 a.m., you will set an alarm very early, probably like 2:30 in the morning, to get up, get your clothes on, and get to the airport pretty dang early to catch that plane, because you're going to miss it if you're not there. So if waking up earlier or going to bed, later with this business needs to happen, we will step up and make that happen, or we're going to eventually mosey to the airport, look through the window and look at all the people that got there early and got on the plane and they're flying off without us, right? And in this example, let's say they're taking off to Maui without us because we didn't actually show up when it was important, like now, right? So you got to put your big girl pants on and say, okay, I need to find an extra 30 minutes every day this week, because guess what? We're all going to be in Vegas next week and it's going to be dang busy. But you know what? I got some follow-ups to do. I got some samples that I sent out. I have some people trying trial packs, and you bet your bottom dollar I'm going to be following up with them and making sure that I am all up in their grill, making sure that they are happy with their products and they're taking them, and I'm following up with them and inviting them to things and answering their questions. I'm not just going to become blind to it because I'm busy on vacation. And that's what the beauty of this business is you can do it anywhere and in small spurts. But when you just shut off and like stop posting and stop reaching out and maybe don't answer people's questions right away, they think you don't care. They think that you don't take this seriously enough anymore. And so what happens is you start to feel like that's okay. And then you realize, oh, my business is slowing down. I guess I'm just not good at this, or I guess blah, blah, blah. And you get in this negative mindset and it's like a spiral. But if you can remain energetic and remain consistent and remain committed to what this opportunity can give you, everything comes back like tenfold, right? So if you stick with it, these people, that you reached out to or followed up with or inviting to events or sending trials to or sending trial packs to, whatever, and you actually keep up with them, keep following up with them and stay consistent, they're going to turn around down the line and join your team, because you stayed up with them and you remained consistent and you set aside that time to do those things, and make sure you're posting even when you're on vacation in Vegas, maybe even when you're on vacation with your family. When everybody's asleep at 5 a.m., wake up and get a post out there and say, hey, my doors are open. My business is still open. I know I'm in Hawaii with my family on vacation and this is awesome. I'm not actively spending 2 hours a day working my business, but guess what? You can still ask me some Plexus questions because we're still drinking our pink drink on the beach because I love the way it makes us feel even on vacation. I'm not bloated and tired and da-da-da, right? Like, you can do those things and everybody has time. So saying that you don't have time is really a lie. Like, flat out, it's a lie, because everyone has time with the same amount of time. And there are people busier than you, with more kids than you, with more stressful jobs than you, whatever it is, succeeding at this in spite of all of those things, right? So you have no excuse, just like I have no excuse. And I'm like preaching to the choir here. I mean, this is stuff that I told in my chat, this is stuff that I have personally struggled with, that I have had to give myself a pep talk about this, because I needed to buckle down and realize that this was a serious business in our life. And so we all know that there are simple daily IPA tasks that we need to get done. And we know what we need to do. We know we need to set aside the time, that 30 minutes or hour a day or whatever, at least maybe in chunks, to do things with intensity. But we need to stop winging it and saying, at the end of the day, if I have time, I'm going to follow up with these people about last night's event or whatever. If it's not written on a schedule somewhere, or if you haven't set a reminder in your phone to get up and do it early, or do it right after dinner before I finish the dish, whatever it is to you, if you haven't done that, then I guarantee you probably aren't going to find the time to do it. At the end of the night, you're going to be too tired. You're going to think of all the other things you have to do, and it's not going to happen. And then days are going to go by, and it's going to feel like too much, because now you got this, backlog of things to do, and it's like this endless cycle of things. So staying on top of it and remaining consistent and working it into your schedule and looking at it like now, like Monday, look through until next week when you have to leave for Vegas. What does your week look like? When are you going to work your business every single day? I know, like, my son's out on summer camp program this week. Like, he's not on regular school hours, right? So we are like totally through a loop on schedules this week. So I'm like, when am I going to work this, right? Because it's completely different. I know I got to pack for Vegas. I know I got to get all this stuff ready. And so I'm already looking at what are my hours that I'm going to be working my business. I know for a lot of people, this is the last week of school and you're teachers. I've heard that already from a few people. And I'm like, I totally get that. But there are pieces of the day, because at some point we found time to, comment on a few friends' things on Facebook, right? We found a little bit of time to post something on Instagram, and we found some time to answer some emails and answer a phone call. Like, maybe it's in little 10-minute increments throughout your day. And if you've made a list of the things you need to get done and taken the time before to plan that out, it's going to happen so much more easily. So really make the commitment before you get into the stress that you will work your business, instead of winging it along the way, is what I'm saying. So if that's a Monday night thing that you do, or if it's a Sunday night thing that you do, or maybe you do it the night before for the next day, which is what I tend to do. I look at my day before, that night I look at the day before. The next day I open my planner and I look at everything I have to do that day, and I say, okay, here's my top 5 I have to get done tomorrow. Here's my list of if I get to it, great. If not, that's fine. But maybe in the little increments, I'll do a couple of those things. But I make sure I don't go to bed until those 5 things are done. If I have people trying trial packs or samples, or that need to get invited to events, or just starting their products or whatever, and they need my coaching, I make sure that those things happen. And one of those is making sure my doors are open. I'm posting on social media. So I'm making sure the day does not pass by until those things happen. And that's a commitment that I've made to my business, because I have seen that the return on investment is there. So that's another, business owner mindset. If you were running a regular brick and mortar business, there are things you have to do before, the lights shut off at the end of the night, or else the next day is going to be crap, right? So understand what those things are, set your priorities, and commit to doing them. And now, a little piece of that is, if you have to have a talk with your spouse or significant other or your family or whoever that may be in your life that is, necessary to speak to about this commitment you're wanting to make with Plexus, now is the time to do that. And it might be hard and it might be uncomfortable. And this is an area that I had to kind of think long and hard about how to present this on this Zoom tonight. I've had to learn that my dreams have value. My time is worth just as much as my husband's time. And I absolutely am capable of accomplishing great things for our family. Now, my husband and I are very analytical. We're very by the numbers. And so when I started making money with Plexus, and we went to convention and we saw the compensation plan, because it took me that long to figure it out, we really bought into this opportunity, we were excited about it. But for whatever reason, I was ashamed to ask him for help. I was ashamed to ask for time. I was somehow thinking that I shouldn't have to need help with the kids so I could work. I, want to be this good wife and do all the things for my husband and help around our house and take care of the kids. And I struggled with my own self-worth a lot. And he already worked really, really hard and made some great money, because he is such an awesome genius and makes a great income for our family. And I'm so blessed to have him in my life. But our family is one that needs both of us, right? We both contribute to this household. And so for whatever reason, I couldn't imagine asking him to do something for me, because, I saw him as, for whatever reason, a more valuable contributor, because like I said, we think in numbers, my husband and I do. And so on paper, he was more valuable, but in life, we are equals. I work dang hard at home to keep our house up and keep our boys happy all day and all night. And so I had to really man up and say, hey, this is something that can be extremely life-changing for us. And so I need time to do this. So let's work together and figure out what that time is. And so we had this chat, and it was a hard chat to have. And I thought about how I needed to kind of step up and prove to myself and, and to him, I guess. But I mean, husbands are hard. I'm sure maybe some of you have the rough husband judgmental thing going on. I know that is sometimes common, sometimes not. My husband bought into the opportunity, but buying into giving up maybe their own time doing some things can be a harder conversation. And I totally understand that, to give you time to work your business. But I thought about how I could prove to both myself and, him that I needed more time to do this. And so what I started out doing was getting up earlier, staying up later, and really focusing in on my IPAs and getting really, really intense about what I needed to do and what were my actual business building activities that were going to, honestly, from a business mindset, turn a profit. What was going to grow this team? What was going to make me a better leader so that I could attract better leaders, that I could raise better leaders, that I could train better leaders? What were the things I needed to do so that I could make those things happen? And so I got almost obsessive about these activities and what they were. And a lot of you have probably seen my trainings on this, and that's why I'm so passionate about this, because this is a journey that I've been on for like 2 years to become a very efficient, productive person. And so, yes, I might lack in a lot of other areas, but this is somewhere that I'm really passionate. And so I proved that when I spend really intense time on the necessary IPAs, our team grew exponentially. And I learned how to raise leaders because I poured into that personal growth. And I went to the events and I took the trainings and I put them into action. And I'm like, turned around and said, hey, I need to start practicing these things and really get intentional, not get distracted, and not let myself give myself the excuses. And so I proved to myself that I am really valuable as a worker in this business. I'm really valuable as a leader. And I'm not ashamed to say that. And I know it's a really, confident thing that might, sound uncomfortable to people, but I'm pretty dang confident in my ability now to lead people and to work this business in a smart way, in a wise way, because I've learned a lot. And I'm still learning so much about how to do things correctly and how to, work on the relational aspect with people. Like that's somewhere where I really struggle because I'm a huge introvert and I'm a head down, nose to the grindstone kind of worker. And so that can be hard and something that's socially based, right? So that is an area that I find a lot of opportunity for me. But in growing my team and focusing on what I needed to show myself that this was going to be valuable for me, I had to really get serious and show myself that when I spend the right amount of time doing the right activities, it will pay off big time. So I showed myself by buckling down that I could do this. And I showed, was able to show my husband, who's a numbers guy, who's a dollar signs guy, hey, I spent this amount of time over the last month doing this, and this many people joined our team. This is how much our paycheck went up by. We ranked up this much. It was like, look at that, like this, I'm just telling you, like, and so if you have a skeptical, like husband or something, like if you're wondering how to like get him on your side, show him the money. I'm not even kidding. Because guys are like, they're the hardest people to convince. And so many people are, or so many guys can be hard to even like get on a schedule with the products. Like I pretty much forced my husband to take them with me for like 4 months. And then he came out of like the holiday season of the year we joined. I joined in October. And I remember like January, I was like, you need to weigh in, like you lost weight. And he was down like 16 pounds. So like they need to see the proof in the pudding. So that's kind of a tangent about husbands, but that's just a little bit of my story because when I started Plexus, we had moved to a new state. And so I didn't have anybody around me. I was at home with our little boy and my husband was working long hours. So I had a really, really hard time asking him for help around the house or to have extra time or whatever. So I said, you know what? No, I'm going to get up earlier. I'm going to stay up later and I'm going to plug and chug until this is like visibly, you cannot deny how lucrative this opportunity is and how valuable my time is. And so if that's something you feel like you need to do, then do it. But the thing is, we have to figure out what the excuse is that we're telling ourselves. And maybe it's not, maybe it starts with, I don't have time, or maybe it's, I'm just unorganized, or maybe it's, I have too many kids, or I have such a stressful job, or whatever it is. Really, it's what is the fear there that is preventing you from showing up more? What is the discomfort there that is stopping you from going all in and setting that alarm a little bit earlier? From staying up a little bit later? Like, what is it? For me, it was a self-worth thing. And I had to dig pretty hard to find that because I found that once I put my mind to it and I said, yeah, I can get up earlier and stay up later. Like, what the heck? Get over yourself, Al. Yes, you can. And then just do it. Right. And so I had to figure out what that was because at first I was like, oh, like it's okay. Like I just, I'm going to just fit in what I can and like my son's nap time and like the hour a day that I get at home and I'll just, whatever. I don't have help. I don't have childcare. I don't have excuse, right? And so just buckle down and figure out what that fear really is or what that discomfort really is. And if it is like a internal self-worth thing, that can be a struggle and you've got to figure out, what's making you feel that way. And, if you need to show yourself the proof is in the pudding, like I did, that was my tactic. That worked for me. It might not work for you. Maybe you're not an analytical, red personality like I am. If you don't know the color personalities and you're brand new, that's another day. But anyway, look it up. Look up color personalities if you don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, like that's maybe not your venue, but the get hashtag get over yourself, Ellie. Yes, Kelly, that's what I'm saying. I had to like give myself a pep talk for like 2 years. I'm not even kidding. And now I understand that my time is really valuable. And so now I'm really careful not to waste it, because I have set some boundaries for myself, which is another thing I had to do, because once you start really getting very absorbed in this business and very passionate about it, it's easy to like never put your phone down and always be with it. And even with when you're with your family or you're at dinner, like you end up picking your phone up all the time and saying, oh, somebody's signing up, I got to go do this, or somebody has a question. First of all, there's no emergencies in Plexus. Like, unless you're ranking up on July 31st to Emerald and it's like, you know, quarter to midnight, like sure, like that's a little bit different, but like there's no emergencies in Plexus, guys. So I have learned to put my phone down when I'm with my family, spend time with my kids, spend time with my family, and I've looked at my week ahead and I know when my work time is. So when I get time to sit down and work, I know what my IPAs need to be, and I do those things without the scrolling Facebook, without the scrolling Instagram, without the clicking on YouTube, without the checking email. I don't do that stuff because I know that how valuable my time is when spent doing business building activities. And so treating your business like a real business, and really getting over whatever your fear is of actually pouring yourself into those activities on a more consistent basis, it can be absolutely huge and life-changing for your business, because you will see yourself just take off in a rocket ship when you finally focus in on those business building activities that will move the needle, and stop getting distracted and stop letting yourself tell yourself excuses. And once you've trained your mind to hear an excuse and say, oh, today's really busy, or today we're driving all day and we're going to be, you know, going to dinner, I'm so busy. It's like, find 30 minutes in the car to cold message some people. Find 20 minutes after dinner on the ride home to put out a post and then follow up with a few people, whatever. Carry your planner with you if you're a planner person like me. I take this sucker everywhere because I know that if I get 10 minutes, I'm going to flip it open and follow up with a few people. So it's just one of those things that getting in business owner mindset and understanding the value of this opportunity and having sincere gratitude for what we have been given is just incredible. And taking some time to like get over whatever you are struggling with and work through it, and have a conversation with the people in your life that may be affecting that decision, whether it's your husband or your kids or whatever. Like, you know, mommy needs time tonight to, you know, daddy's going to do dinner, or, you know, babysitter's going to do dinner tonight because I need to do this to help us win a trip to Maui, to help us, you know, go to leadership retreat, whatever, to help your business, because this means XYZ for our family, right? It's like, what does it mean? You know, maybe it's not winning prizes and stuff. Maybe it's paying for Christmas presents. Like, what, I don't know, like whatever it is, like I would love to buy, you know, you a really cool birthday present in 3 months. So I need to win this cash prize now. So I need to work now so you can get that new shiny bike in July or whatever that you really want. You know what I mean? Like whatever the thing is, really put some tangible numbers behind it, know where your business is at, and understand how much you can really move the needle when you get intense about stuff. So I'll kind of like stop preaching at you there for a second. And what I want to do is take a minute and I guess you can either, should I take I don't want to take everybody off of mute, maybe like raise your hand or something. But if someone feels like they excel in this area, or if you feel like it's an opportunity for you big time, and you, you know, maybe have some struggles that others might have, that we can chime in and either relate to each other or give each other advice, or if it's somewhere you feel like you've done really well and maybe this is an area of development for you that you've been through these last, you know, few months or whatever, few weeks even, I'd love to hear from you, because I want people to know that other people are in their same situation. Other people have worked through the same things, and maybe this is something that you can relate to. So does anybody have anything? I'm trying to click through. There's so many pages of faces. Raise your hand, I guess. I'm going to sit here until somebody says something. Don't make me call on somebody. Oh, Corky, there you go. I'm unmuting you. Okay, go.
I struggle with the thing of having a million things to do, just like the rest of us. And I always try to do what you say, Allie, like I'll make a plan. And sometimes that's great and it works, and other times it doesn't. And what I have found is that when you make the plan and if it doesn't work, don't let that be the deterrent to make you like be, okay, I'm just not gonna do it, I'll do it tomorrow, and kind of move your list over, because then tomorrow becomes the next day and next day. And I've literally done that personally, and by the end of the week, it's like you get overwhelmed because there's no way you're gonna catch up. So the one thing that I've found is that kind of what you're saying is like the nooks and crannies, but it's like, you know, if I schedule first thing in the morning, but then my dad calls and he has had a medical problem and I have to take him to the doctor and it takes, 4 or 5 hours, then it might be that I can squeeze it in before my husband gets home, or I'm doing it, like you say, late at night, whenever I can make it happen. But I've just found that, my life is always busy, and I know all of us feel that way. And so by just not allowing myself that mindset of, okay, well, it's okay if I don't get it done, because I was doing that for a really long time. And what I finally realized is that I was taking care of everybody else's needs and wants and what they required from me. And then there was nothing left for me to do what I needed to do for me or for my business, my family, my why. And it took me a long time to figure out that I didn't understand why it was okay to quit on myself, but not anybody else. I make it such a high priority to take care of everyone else and make sure that everything they need is done. And so, I still struggle with it, but I've gotten a lot better, and that's something I'm really working on. But I think, like I said, just to make sure you don't put it off, because then it's that whole thing of you're just so overwhelmed. And so even if you don't get your whole list done for the day, do something off it so you feel like you've at least done something, and then you won't give up on yourself.
Mm-hmm. I love what you said about you feel like it's okay to do everything for everyone else, but you have a hard time taking time to do stuff for yourself. Yeah. That is exactly, I think a lot of us, I think as women, we go through that, and as moms, like you're like, there's this spirit of like, I've been put here to care for people, right? I've been put here to do things for people. And so when you take a step back and say, hey, wait, like I need help, we feel so bad about it, and we need to quit it. Like we need to stop that. Like we are important. And if we are a mess and we aren't getting done what we need to get done and we feel unfulfilled, then we are not putting our best foot forward for everybody else. So we need to remember that.
I think too, I don't know if everyone else is this way, but I know for me personally, when I let that happen, it's maybe okay for me for a little while, but then I start to get resentful. And I don't want to be resentful, because then sometimes I can get a little cranky with it, with the thought of, why am I doing this for you and you're not doing anything to help me? That kind of thing. You can get almost in the poor me attitude. And I don't like to be in that headspace. So that was another reason that it became like, okay, you can't be here because that's not where you want to live. So how do you get out of that? And like everyone's going to have different things, but like for me, even if I got a little bit of my list done instead of just doing nothing, that seemed to be like, it was enough for my brain to feel like, okay, I'm not giving up on myself.
Exactly. That's awesome. It's awesome to hear, like, and when you notice that thought process, right? Like recognizing that is really important, that like, hey, I'm not giving myself enough value here. I need to step up and claim what's mine, right? Like I have time that's valuable too. I have dreams, I have wants, I have needs, you know what I mean? Everybody else does too, and you're there for them, but you need to take time for yourself also. And that's so, so, so important. So thank you for sharing that, because I relate to that big time. Anybody else? Oh, Terry. Okay, go.
So one of the things for me that kind of clicked recently was, it took me a long time to get to silver gold or senior gold, even though I was doing all the things that I was supposed to be doing. Sometimes it just takes longer, and you hear about all the people who, do it in 9 months or take off. And you do, even though I know you're not supposed to compare yourself, you do compare yourself. And for some reason, something clicked on me that all the things I've ever done in my life that took some time, it didn't happen overnight. I have been working at my job for 15 years. 15 years. I was a hairdresser before that. I went to school for 2 years and worked that job for 6 or 7 years till I was pretty good at it. And so like I had to look at my whole life and be like, wow, all of those things did not happen in 1 year or 2 years or even 3 years. And that for me just sort of clicked. And so I'm not so focused on how fast I'm doing it anymore. Um, and I don't know why it happened, but it happened. So everybody out there, remember how long it took you to learn something.
Exactly. And that's so important, to put your blinders on and not worry about what everyone else is doing, because you really have no idea where they're coming from, right? You have no idea what their life circumstances have been, what their network is like, what kind of relationships they've developed, all those things, what kind of background they have. You have no idea where someone is coming from. And so comparing yourself to someone else's journey is really just hindering your own progress. It's putting you in a negative frame of mind, and all of that. And it might hinder how well you work, because you might start to degrade your own value, because you're thinking that like, why can't I do this as fast as everybody else? I must not be good. I must be less than for some reason. And the thing is, no, you're not. This is a growth opportunity, and everyone needs to grow in different areas. And maybe their struggles just are shaped and packaged differently than yours are, right? And maybe their setbacks are going to happen at a different time in their life. And maybe you're being set up for something that's going to mold you and teach you so much that, when you do achieve that next rank, or when you do, adjust those habits or whatever, it's going to be this crazy light bulb moment that you're like, yes, all of this prep work has led me to this. Like, I needed to go through that. I needed to walk that fire to teach me to be so grateful for what I have now. Because if it had come any more quickly, then maybe it wouldn't have been something you would have appreciated as much, and so I think that's huge. As well, of treating this like something that you're in for the long haul, and making that commitment, and not looking to the left and right. And this is your journey that you're on. And so to kind of put your head down and focus on your activity and your team and what that means for you and how you can do the best with what you are given, is so much more important than wasting your time looking beside you. That's huge. So thanks. That's good. That's awesome input. Anybody else? Let's see. We'll do it with like 15 more, maybe a couple more people. I don't want to be here all night, but you know what I mean. Oh, there you are, Kelly. Okay, go.
Okay. Well, one thing, I had some other personal stuff going on, and I got that stuff cleared up. So now my focus can be back where my heart really is. But part of what I was thinking is trying to figure out a time, whether it be Saturday or Sunday, where I have a little more time since I work full time outside the home too. It's figuring out a good time to get like Allie's planner ready, so during the week I can say, okay, I can look quickly at that, but I need to take the time and schedule that like during the weekend, even if it's just a 30-minute time. So I've kind of tried to talk with Jared about, okay, can I have even just an hour so I can say, okay, I want to post about these things these days. I don't necessarily have to have the post done, but like know where I want to go with it. And so it's a less time during the week where I do feel more crunched to having a plan, saying, okay, these are the things, these are the people I'm going to reach out to. Here's, the week, but spending a little more time maybe on a weekend where I do have a little bit more time in planning those small pockets throughout the week. So that was just one thing. I have not done that, but that's kind of been in my mind to start doing. So I feel like it's less during the time where my time is less, if that makes any sense.
Exactly. No, that's something actually very, very recently. And now that Cassie's here, she can probably relate to this too, about planning like posts, even like team page posts and your personal posts and things like beforehand. So you're not coming up with them on the fly, like probably only in the last 8 months, maybe 6 months, like have I really, really tried to do better at that and not feeling like I needed to come up with content on the fly, and really be more diligent about adjusting my content to my network and not just being like, I got to get a post out there. You know what I mean? Like I really, in the last like 6-8 months probably have been much more cognizant of what I'm putting out on social media. And then also prepping my work beforehand of like for the week, like, like you said, like really, really being thoughtful about the times when I'm going to do things. And like you said, like your content maybe doesn't have to be all finished, but like understanding what's going up different days and what's happening and whatever, because I think we all have probably gone through seasons where you're kind of flying by the seat of your pants for a little bit, and that can be okay until it becomes like a complete lifestyle, because it will catch up to you. And like Kelly Higginbotham is nodding her head. Yeah. But like it caught up to me last year. 2018 was the year of keeping my head above water, right? Like I totally was all about that. I was trying to just hang on. And so I have tried to get better about really planning that stuff and planning, you know, what our team is doing, planning what I'm putting out on social media, because now I've got this huge team watching me, right? Like making sure that all this is planned out. And then, you know, as for like my lists and things of follow-ups and whatever, and reach outs and things. And that's thankfully something that I started a long time ago, but my content creation, whether it's for my team, or challenges or for my social media, like it's something that I really had to think hard about and make myself step back and do beforehand. And it helps so much if you can, even just a couple days, just knowing that like tomorrow I'm going to do this and the next day I'm going to do that. Like, okay, then when that night comes and okay, for the next couple days I'm going to do that. Like that helps so much, because then you're not just on the fly trying to do something and it means you take like half an hour trying to think of a dang Facebook post, because you could have spent 30 minutes doing some sweet IPAs and gotten some new potentials, but you just wasted it like writing one Facebook post, right? So it's like, it can be a time suck if you're not careful. And so spending the time beforehand when you have the time, it can be a game changer for sure. It's a good tip. Anybody else? Oh, there's Becca. Okay. And go.
So something I kind of noticed that I was struggling with just in the past 3 weeks was that when I first started working my business, it was okay for me to kind of work it in increments, you know, like before work, a little bit at lunch, a little after work. And that was working really well for a while. And then I realized, okay, I'm kind of like feeling disorganized. I don't feel like as on top of things as I was before. And I realized that now I have way more people under me. I have people wanting to work their business under me. And so that's just not working anymore. And I need to have a more like set time. And so I realized, you know, the mornings are when I'm the most productive, and it's when, you know, I like to get my workouts in. It's when I put kind of like my high priority things at. So that's just like a new plan I've set for myself to make sure I'm getting up early enough to set that time aside, and just make sure I get everything done that I want to get done, instead of like pushing it to lunch and pushing it to after work and later in the day. And then before you know it, the day's over and you didn't get everything accomplished that you want to, and you're feeling disappointed in yourself. So that's just my new plan, and something I'm hoping works well for me.
Yeah, that's huge for you to, that's another good point, to recognize when your highest productivity time is. Like, what is that for you? Are you a night owl? Are you an early bird? Are you like, what does that mean for you? Because that can be completely different for every single one of us. So maybe hone in on what that is. And instead of saying, oh yeah, after dinner, I'm going to do this, maybe it's like, no, maybe I need to like go to bed an hour earlier and get up an hour earlier, because I actually do work better in the morning, or whatever the time is. That can be really important, really, really important as well. And that was something I did, because I had to get up before my, you know, babies got up. I was like, I gotta get time in the morning. I personally don't like the feeling of when you finally get to work already feeling behind. Like the world has been up for a few hours and you're just like, what are all these messages and notifications and posts? And I'm like, what? Like, then you feel like you spent 45 minutes just getting caught up, and you're like, oh, well, there goes my power hour. Like I just spent all that time getting caught up. But if you can get your work done first, then when that time that you do get time, you know, maybe later in the day when you have time kind of thing, you're like, oh, I could take a minute and like get caught up on those things or whatever. Like do my stuff first, like take that half hour before the kids are up or whatever, to do the most important things first. So definitely, so Jody's saying it's so hard to do and so important. It is hard to train yourself to have new habits. It's really difficult. That's what I was saying before. I was like, it's so simple, but we need to get over ourselves and do it, because it's going to be pretty difficult to retrain yourself. but it is so worth it. It's so important because the feeling of not being behind, first of all, has a huge boost in your confidence level. It lessens your stress level, it lessens your anxiety level. It makes you more productive when you just get up and say, hey, I'm going to do these 5-6 things. And then you're not in like attack, like, you know, putting out fire mode the rest of it. You're not so reactive for the rest of the day. And so, but that also propels your business more forward because you're not just trying to get caught up and keep your head above water. You're like, hey, I'm already swimming on top and I'm just, you know, making sure that, you know, nothing's getting thrown at me that I can't see coming, right? Like you're already in a good state because you did what you needed to do first. But yeah, Rachel's saying you need to do more intentional tasks and then put your phone down. Definitely. Be intense, intentionally intense with the right activities. That is what is going to move your business forward. And we all know what those things are. It's the basic IPAs. But it's hard to remember to not get caught up in group chats and asking all these questions on team pages and answering people's stuff and scrolling our feed and whatever. Like we need to make sure that we are growing our networks, reaching out, engaging with potentials, answering questions from our newbies or potentials, you know, getting people enrolled or signed up or whatever, and following up with people first and foremost before we are engaging in, you know, group chat activity and team page posts and even little, you know, contests and giveaways and rah, you know, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here, you know, right? Like that's awesome, but that's not an IPA, right? Like I love the community-based things, but scrolling a team page and like welcoming all the new ambassadors for the week is not an IPA and probably eats up like 15 minutes of your time, right? Like it's lovely to do, like everybody do that, but do that at the end of the night when you're in bed after you got all your IPAs done. Then do that. Like that's like last priority, right? So, I mean, that's awesome, but move your business forward first. So I guess I don't want to, if anybody has anything else they really, really want to say, I want to kind of close this out for tonight. But I want to, first of all, thank everybody for being on here. And I hope that this chat that we have set up and these Zooms that we're going to set up are going to be something that you guys can feel that you can chime in on and pitch in the chat group. And if you're struggling with something, please come to us with it. If you have questions about how to better, you know, hone in your skills in a certain area, I know that there's one of us, and not even just us Jules, like one of all of you, like we can all help each other in different areas. We can all teach each other things. And there are so many different personality types in here, so many different qualities in here that I see and strengths that I think that a lot of us are doing things that are so like beyond what I am good at. Like I'm looking at it, like there are so many things you guys can do that I am not excelling in, that I'm excited to learn from all of you guys. Because as you all know, this is an area that I'm really passionate about, but I'm excited to learn more from all of you. And in a couple weeks, I think Kyle is going to chat with us about, I won't tell you, I won't ruin it. But so Kyle will be with us in a couple weeks right after convention, but a lot of us will see each other at convention. But thank you guys. And yeah, if you have anything else, type it in the chat later, but thanks for being on, and we will talk soon.